Chapter 14, Lesson 9, Quadrilaterals. And if you break up word quadrilaterals, you'll see quad, which means four, and lateral, which means side. So these are quadrilaterals with four sides and four angles. There are many different kinds of quadrilaterals. The speed limit sign represents a quadrilateral. Classify the angles formed by the quadrilateral. Determine if any of the sides are parallel or perpendicular. There are, according to these little marks that we've got shown in the corner, there are 4 right angles, because I see 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 0 acute angles and 0 obtuse angles. Determine if there are any parallel or perpendicular sides. Well, since there are 4 right angles and we know that in order to have a right angle you need perpendicular sides, I know that there are 4 perpendicular here to there. This is a perpendicular. This is. And here's another. Those are all perpendicular. But that doesn't mean that that's all I have. I'm going to change color so I can do something else. Let's do a dark green. So this side and this side are parallel, and this side and this side are parallel. The opposite sides are parallel. The adjoining sides are perpendicular. So we've got a bunch to write down on number 2 as well. The top and what sides are parallel? The opposite sides. So the top and bottom sides are parallel. The left and right sides are parallel. Okay, so top and bottom, left and right. Since there are 4 right angles, the sides that form each right angle are perpendicular. So there are 2 pairs. There are 4 sides. 2 pairs of perpendicular sides. Notice that opposite sides are also equal in length. So if I go up to shape, this side and this side are the same length. This side and this side are the same length. That's what that's saying down there. Okay, a quadrilateral with 4 right angles, opposite sides equal in length, and opposite sides parallel is a rectangle. A rectangle is a special kind of quadrilateral. So if we were to make groups, I would have the major circle is quadrilaterals, and a group within those quadrilaterals would be rectangles. And even smaller within that would be, hopefully you recognize, squares. Because squares are a special kind of rectangle, and rectangles are a special kind of quadrilateral. So that's how these shapes relate together. Okay, so on page 926 to get in different types of quadrilaterals, and I'm going to try and make sort of a Venn diagram here to show how they're related to each other as I go through the definitions. Okay, so we've got they're all quadrilaterals. We've got a parallelogram, has opposite sides equal in length and parallel. In addition, opposite angles have the same size. So we've got sides are parallel, these 2 sides are parallel, and those 2 sides are parallel. And then the opposite angles like this one and this one. Why is it jumping? This side and this side are equal, and this side and this side are equal. If I were to draw an X in there, those opposite sides would be equal. So a subcategory of quadrilaterals is parallelograms. Okay, so that's going to be a subsection of our quadrilaterals. Now, inside the parallelogram subset, there is going to be a subset that are rectangles. Whew! Let me see if I can write that. That's clear enough. Rectangle is going to be a subset of the parallelogram. A rectangle has opposite sides equal in length and parallel. It has 4 right angles. So within the category parallelogram, because as you'll see, a parallelogram has opposite sides equal in length. That's also true for a rectangle. Opposite sides have the same, opposite angles have the same size. Well, all of the angles in this one have the same size. So that's a subset of a parallelogram. Okay. Now, also in this are a rhombus. A rhombus has opposite sides equal in length and parallel. It has 4 equal sides. Okay, so within the parallelogram subset, you will have a rhombus, or rhombi is the plural. Okay, and you have this nifty little section here. That is the next one, and that is the square. SQ for square. That's all I can fit. So a square is a rhombus, a rectangle, a parallelogram, and a quadrilateral. You can see it fits in all of those categories. So it's a very specific type of shape that fits into all these categories. And then you have, over here, you have the trapezoid. I know some of us feel like the trapezoid sometimes doesn't fit into any of the other groups, except for quadrilateral. It's in the quadrilateral group. A trapezoid has exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. And as you can see in this shape, this side and this side are parallel. So that makes a trapezoid. A rectangle, a square, and a rhombus each have all of the attributes or characteristics of a parallelogram. So they are all parallelograms. That's what I'm showing here. So hopefully that makes some sense and helps you organize your thoughts for the different shapes and helps you understand how they fit together and their relationship. Looking at this and referring back up, example 2, classify the quadrilateral in as many ways as possible. Okay, so we already know it's quadrilateral. The quadrilateral has opposite sides equal in length. So this side and this side are equal, and this side and this side are equal. And opposite sides are parallel. So since these 2 sides are parallel and those 2 sides are parallel, that means it's not a trapezoid. It has to be a parallelogram. It also has 4 equal sides. So it is a, where did my picture go? There's my picture. Since it has 4 equal sides, it is a rhombus and a parallelogram. So this 4 equal sides makes it a rhombus. Having both sets of opposite sides being parallel makes it a parallelogram. So these 2 would be correct. Since the angles are not right angles, it can't be a square or a rectangle. Only the square and the rectangle have the right angles, and this one obviously doesn't, so it's not going to fit into those 2 categories. Okay, classify this quadrilateral in as many ways as possible. So this is the one that's right in the center there, and it has the most possible definitions. We've got opposite sides parallel, we've got opposite sides equal, we've got right angles, and we've got all 4 sides being equal. So that makes it a square, also a rhombus, also a rectangle, a parallelogram within the quadrilateral category. So that's going to fit on all, that's how you're going to write all those lines. Fits into all of these categories there. Hopefully this helps you. If you want to draw your own version of this or look up a nice neat one online, that would work too, to help you get through your work. So the top of your independent practice is pretty much what we did. You're going to label this as many ways as possible, and it's giving you lines to do that. So you might need to find forth between the definitions to make sure you're labeling it properly, or you might need to use your Venn diagram like what I showed for you. Now down here on number 8, there's several steps to this one problem. This quadrilateral is a what? Because it has exactly one pair of something sides. So remember our oddball over here does not have opposite sides equal. It does not have all 4 opposite sides being parallel. It only has this side and this side is parallel, and they're obviously not equal. So that makes it our lonely guy over here, which you're going to label on this line, because it has exactly one pair of what sides? Those sides are not intersecting, they are parallel. And there are how many vertices? Well, in order for it to be quadrilateral, there have to be 4 vertices. And in order to label them, you're going to, hold on, here's the letters that are given. So the vertices would be A, B, C, and D, and that's what you would write on this line. And in order for it to be a quadrilateral, there's not just 4 vertices, there's also 4 line segments. So we would need to label the line segments with 2 letters. So there is the line segment DC, CB, BA, and then AD. So those 4 line segments are labeled by the vertices on either end of the line segment. And that would be the correct way to write it here. This figure is not a parallelogram. You need to explain why. If you're confused about that, go back to the other lesson or replay the video, and that'll help you get the answer to that one there. And when you get to the problem solving, number 9, 10, you should be able to do without narrowing down your options here. For number 9, a quadrilateral has opposite sides parallel and 4 right angles. So automatically that eliminates the trapezoid. And having 4 right angles eliminates the rhombus. So we're moving into our parallelogram, and it says 2 sides are longer than the others. So now we've eliminated the square because square has all 4 sides. And since it has 4 right angles, is it just a parallelogram or is it a rectangle? Well, a parallelogram does not have to have 4 right angles. So that eliminates parallelogram, and you're left with, hopefully you see your answer written right there. And you're going to write that in a complete sentence on the line. How are a square and a rhombus alike? So look at the way these overlap. They're both a type of. They're different because this one has something that this one does not. They both have equal sides, but there's some feature of this that is not true of a rhombus. And if you're not sure, go back and look at your definitions for that one. A rhombus is a square, true or false? Now, some might be, but are all rhombus square, yes or no? A rectangle is a parallelogram. Is that true? Are all rectangles parallelograms, yes or no? Look at our Venn diagram and see if that helps you figure that out. How can I classify quadrilaterals? So we're labeling them by the sides, by the angles, and by whether they're parallel or perpendicular. So those are the ways that we can identify all the quadrilaterals. Hopefully that helps you. You can put it in your own words to answer number 14. And if you have used your full hour, you can be done. If not, please continue on through the homework. And thank you for working hard.